This Kentucky Derby prediction edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. Bet $50 at WynnBet and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBet. Download the WynnBet app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. And make sure to download the SGPN app, your home for all of our free picks and podcasts.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan. Real money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. We need that sound effect of that nice metal bell ringing as I walk up to the window and place my bets.
Oh, wow.
No $2 Chuck over here, Sean. I'm all grown up. Zeros in my bets today. Let's fucking go. Love horse racing. Love the Kentucky Derby. Love that we have multiple guests to talk about it.
Yes, we got a couple different horse racing experts on here to talk the ponies. Kramer's got his shades on, and it is it's just going to be a great weekend. We got NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and of course
golf,
the Kentucky Derby, golf as well.
What are we forgetting? Baseball?
Yeah, baseball as well. Yeah, you can throw in some baseball. We have 8 screens. We got to fill those things up with something.
We didn't even plan that bit where we forget the USFL. Nice job, Sean.
Oh yeah, Friday night USFL action. All right, make sure you check out whatever you're getting down on this weekend. Make sure you head over to WynnBet with their nice bet $50 win $200 promotion, where a $50 bet qualifies you for up to $200 in free bets. You can also use the head over to the WynnBet Casino if you're in a WynnBet Casino state. 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000, and of course the build your own bet. Great for NBA playoffs and NHL hockey. So much to choose from. All you got to do is download the WynnBet app or visit wynnbet.com to get started today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Ryan, big day on the track. Talking ponies, talking Kentucky Derby.
We're gonna be talking fit athletes. That's what we're gonna be talking.
Yes, exactly. Joining us on the line, he is the one of the hosts of the MLB Gambling Podcast, the Zed Run Gambling Podcast, longtime horse racing expert, longtime horse racing insider, our friend from across the pond, Mr. Malcolm Bamford. Malcolm, what's happening, man?
Hello, lovely boys. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We got to ask, you're rocking, for those watching on YouTube, you're rocking it looks to be a Chargers jersey. Is that Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen? What do you got on there?
I'll give you one guess. You should know this, Sean. There's a Philadelphia Eagles link.
Oh, wow.
Eagles
Jesus link,
Christ.
Powder blue.
A little bit of earlier trivia. Number 43, I believe.
Oh, Darren Sproles. Let's go.
Is the right answer. Yeah, it's a Darren Sproles shirt.
That's a real
I had to
DGen
ask
jersey.
somebody that.
That's a real DGen jersey.
Now, are you a massive Darren Sproles fan, or are you just like the jersey?
I have no idea how this shirt got into my life. Honestly, no idea. But I've got it. I'm in my pajamas is what I'm doing. So yeah, this is now my Darren Sproles pajama top. But yeah, good spot. I didn't think you noticed. I didn't put it on purpose, but yeah, happy.
No,
accident.
I like it. Darren Sproles has won me some money, and then looking to bring that mojo to today.
He knows we're football guys. It's a wise move by Malcolm.
And speaking of no idea how he got in our lives, we are joined by the Wolf of Oaklawn. He is the co-host of the Zed Run Gambling Podcast and the host of the Notorious OTB, our first ever horse racing lifestyle podcast. What's happening, Wolf?
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm kind of like the guy that just pops up at the funeral reception and then makes friends with everyone. That's how I got into your lives. I did that kind of sidling in.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's just a part of the squad.
That's so mean. He's calling XFL Jim a funeral. Oh, Jesus Christ.
We needed a wolf in the organization. Also, I'm setting this edict now. I never want to learn how you got the name Wolf. Please never tell me. It's just way cooler that you're called the Wolf, much like in in Pulp Fiction. If we figured out why that guy was named Wolf, and maybe we do, I don't remember, but I just like keeping it mysterious. So please never explain the nickname to me.
And I'm more worried about the Acura legend in Pulp Fiction that he pulls up in.
Shame on us for not having the you sending the wolf sound drop ready to bring him on. But yeah, I mean, Sean, this is going to be excellent.
Yes.
2 guests means 2 people you can copy from today.
Exactly.
You're going to be live swapping your picks based on what these guys.
I'm just riding them. Although we'll save it for the actual Derby race. There's one horse that jumped off the page for me that I'm 100% betting on name alone. We'll let you guys guess that later. But we're going to talk Kentucky Oaks Day, which is on Saturday as well. Kentucky Derby Day obviously is, so Oaks Day is Friday, and then aka tomorrow.
It's a full weekend.
And
drink
Derby
a lot of
Day
bourbon,
is Saturday. So a bunch of races. We're going to give you a bunch of picks for all these. Ryan, before we get into that, why don't we talk about Sleeper?
Okay.
You know Sleeper because you play fantasy football on Sleeper. Now they have a new player prop over under game. Again, you guys know player props. I don't need to explain player props. Hit that Sleeper app, click over on the over under. You can win between 2x and 20x depending on how many players you put in that sweet parlay. When you first deposit an over under, make sure you use the promo code SGP. 100% deposit match up to $100. That is the Sleeper fantasy app. Promo code SGP when you deposit. 100% deposit match. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details, and hop in our squad, sg.pn/squad, all lowercase on the squad there, and you can copy our picks. But more importantly, if you got some winners, tag me in the squad chat so I can start cashing in on these things. I'm looking for a 3-team NBA parlay, or 3-team NBA player prop parlay.
Can I issue a warning to Sleeper? I dare you to keep issuing 6.5 to 1 on 3-teamers when football season starts. I dare you. Bring that shit my way. We'll keep talking about Sleeper for free.
Oh yeah,
you're giving out plus 650 on NFL player prop parlays. Let's go.
All right, before we get to the Oaks Day picks, let's just talk. I know weather is expected to be a factor coming in, especially it looks like on Friday. Wolf, what have you been hearing about the weather, and how's that impacting your handicap?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be just pouring rain all day Friday is the last I've seen on the weather report. I'm here in Arkansas. Eventually this weather will make its way to Kentucky. It's pouring here. The way it changes it is you have to take what the track conditions might be into your handicapping. You have to look at, what they might do. They could seal the track. And if they seal the track, then you might see horses that are on the front end of the pace that are out there leading just end up cruising home pretty easily. So a lot of it is you just kind of have to wait and see what the track is doing that day. And a lot of it is just kind of trying to go off those, preconceived notions of how tracks play.
Now, normally,
wait, so they don't move it to a dome if there's weather. Right?
They don't cancel it, right?
No, I mean, you'll see maybe races getting taken off the turf surface, but when you get into these like graded stakes races that are happening on these days, those will still run on turf if they were scheduled for turf, but they might take the lesser ones off.
Malcolm, what about you? Is a sloppy track, is that good for underdogs, better for the favorites, or kind of depends on the horse?
Normally, I love what I call extremes of going. So if it's rattling hard, if you get a horse with a high knee action on a rattling hard ground like a motorway, love it. Equally, if it's bottomless ground and you get a horse with a nice round action, I love that as well. But not on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, you can pick through a really rubbish card at a little provincial track and find these things on extremes of going. When we're talking a Kentucky Derby or Oaks field, it's tricky because there's not a huge sample size. I think the average number of runs per horse in this field is 5. So you haven't got much to go off. They might have had maybe 2 runs as a 2-year-old, a couple of prep runs, and then here they go. So you can't troll back through the form and look for form on a wet track. The thing to do, I think, as Chase has already pointed out, is look at the earlier races, see how it's affected the running styles. Has everything won off the front? In which case, you want something off the front. So yeah, it's hard to pinpoint a particular horse because there's not enough body of work to come off. So yeah, I do like an extreme of going, but it's hard to establish on a big field because everybody's trying. That's the thing. On a day like Saturday, everybody's trying. On a Tuesday afternoon, you can find the one that wants the mud. That's going to be harder at the weekend.
And I heard a couple terms I think we need to add to the glossary, but
there was a lot rattling hard
already.
Bottomless ground. It just made me.
Now, what is bottomless ground? I assume it feels like there's no bottom because it's super muddy and they keep pushing through.
Bottomless ground is a staple of Irish horse racing. Honestly, they all need like swimming trunks and a set of armbands. They'll just they're paddling through.
That's an amazing visual of these Irish horses in their swimming trunks.
So I'm at a dude ranch in Colorado. All right. And we've been hanging out with these horses all week, and the kids are super stoked because the last day they get to take the horses swimming. And these horses, they wade into this, it's like mud, and then it turns into kind of this big pond. And all of a sudden, you just see a giant horse turd floating through the water, which none of the kids had even thought about. The idea of like, oh, these horses might shit in this water. Anyway, heard the bottomless ground, heard the swim trunks, just had to tell so you have like a dozen freaking out kids with just fucking shit floating around in the water. It's pretty
oh man.
Talk about a Saturday.
For the younger audience, you got to watch Caddyshack. There's a nice floating reference there. All right, let's get to the Oaks Day Friday. Wolf, I know you picked a couple of races you want to highlight, starting with race 6. Also, just walk us through what is Kentucky Oaks Day in relation to the Derby. Is this just like hey, a Friday warm up race?
Yeah, I mean, Saturday's the race for the roses on Friday. Or sorry, Saturday's the race for the roses on Friday. It's lilies for the fillies. This is about the ladies. The Oaks is going to be is basically the Kentucky Derby equivalent for fillies, for 3-year-old fillies. So these are going to be your top 3-year-old fillies in the country that have won a point system to get into the gate, just like the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, okay. So I like this. So this is all chicks on ladies' night on Friday at the
Churchill
track.
Downs. Nice.
All right, kicking it off here. A couple of races you wanted to highlight. Race 6. Who do you like here?
This is a really interesting race because you have a horse, She Dares the Devil, number 2, who is just a very accomplished horse that has won Breeders' Cup races, that has won all sorts of graded stakes. It's also never run on a wet track before. It's also perfect at Churchill. It's going to take a ton of money, and there are going to be opportunities, I think, to beat this horse, on the wet track. I don't ever want to take a short price on a horse that's doing something for the first time. And so I'm looking at the number 3, Temper Time, that runs for Dale Romans. This horse actually projects to be out close to the lead with She Dares the Devil. And what you'll see on these wet days is they seal a track to kind of keep it from getting essentially peanut buttery, and kind of cuppy, where it kind of sucks their feet, like when you step into deep mud and it'll take your shoe off.
Yeah. So sorry. What do you mean by seal the track? Do they put like a tarp over it, or
it's more, they take the tractors and they kind of do like an intense rolling over it so that it's like, they try to make it a little less porous and a little less open, as opposed to when they harrow the track was where they do the opposite.
This is like when Steve and Capper start talking about Bermuda grass. I like it.
What I'm hearing is they're packing it down. Is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm helping to translate.
Sean, I feel like we go deeper into horse racing every time.
Pun intended. In this bottomless ground.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
So Temper Time, you're thinking because She Dares the Devil, massive favorite. Temper Time coming in, and what do we expect Temper Time to close at for race 6?
I mean, right now sitting at 12-1. Seeing the off-track performance previously, I would not be surprised if you maybe get halved in the odds down to 6-1 by the time you hit post. However, that's still a pretty good odds for a 7-horse race.
Now, what do you think about overall just horse racing And feel free to chime in as well on this, Malcolm. But what do you think about, playing the futures on some of these horses to win versus, playing the actual closing, the pari-mutuel wagering option? Is there value in taking the future on some of these where you think the lines are going to shift and lock that in?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can find a book that's got, fixed odds, and you can go ahead and you can say to yourself, okay, I think the odds here are going to be cut in half, and I'm seeing fixed odds. And I know the weather's going to happen. I know there's some sort of situation that's going to be, that I'm going to jump on those fixed odds and try to catch that future bet.
Yeah. And what about you, Malcolm? You've given us some Kentucky Derby long shots. Do you think it is value? We're recording this on a Thursday. If you like a couple of the longer shots for the Derby, maybe you lock them in at a quote unquote futures price versus waiting to see what the pari-mutuel number closes at.
Absolutely. I love that. There's no better feeling than 10 minutes before a race and you've got 33-1 about the 10-1 shot. You feel like you've won already.
Yeah.
Even if thing gets turned over, you beat the system. Doesn't matter. You can keep my fiver. I got the good price. And half the battle is getting a horse to the race. When we took Medina Spirit last year, we took it 6 months out, and it's a victory just to get a horse to the race if you've got a fancy price on it. So yeah, don't muck around with huge amounts of money, but if you, like I say, you get that good feeling if you can take a 33 or a 41 shot today that might be 12 or 16 at the weekend. And then in this country, I've always got the option of laying that back on the betting exchanges. I don't think you have the betting exchanges yet, so I can then lay that back at 10-1 and what we call green everything up. That's money in the bank. That's I'll win at 33-1. I'll pay somebody else out at 10-1. So yeah, it's a perfect little system. I love that kind of thing.
Sean, we don't hedge here at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, but I could get into greening up.
greening
everything up.
Way cooler than hedging is like, oh, hey, I'm worried about losing.
Like you're working on your fucking garden.
Sean greening up. I might have to steal that. Sean greening up green. All right.
Greening up is what I used to do before I went to philosophy class in college every day.
Wow. Hello, Chase. Welcome to the company.
Yeah. Now I think we figured out how Chase is a part of the company. All right. Wolf, race 7, the Alysheba Stakes.
Alysheba,
Alysheba.
It's okay. You're first. Okay. It's all right.
No,
right.
This is on brand right here.
Expected to be very competitive according to the sheet you worked up. What are we looking at here in race 7 for the Kentucky Oaks Day?
I mean, the Alysheba, there's a bunch of names that if you follow horse racing, are going to pop out, like Max Player, Weyburn, and then also Olympiad, who's the 9-5 favorite. There's one that I'm really interested in. It's a personal favorite of mine, but that's not swaying my pick. It's a horse for Todd Pletcher named Happy Saver, right now 7-2 on the morning line. And there's a little angle I have called the Todd Pletcher Witness Protection program, which is he'll take these horses and he'll put them on like extremely long layoffs. You won't see them for months.
Keep them off the radar.
Yeah, Happy Saver hasn't run since November. This horse could come back and just absolutely fire off the witness protection angle.
No, yeah, you don't have to explain to us Todd Pletcher. We get it. He's making trips to Germany. Oh, yeah. He understands the edge.
And where are we at with Malcolm? Where are we at with our buddy Bob Bamford? Is he just banned for life? I don't think he's not allowed to participate in this Derby, right?
No, he got banned from Kentucky. I think he is in the Todd Pletcher witness protection program. Yeah. Todd's sorted about with a little hideaway somewhere. He got his ban. There's a couple of his ex-horses sounds like they're ex-wives. There are a couple of his horses that used to be with him that are now being, the connections have moved them to our trainers. And there's a horse in the same colours as well, the same ownership as Medina Spirit. I can't think what it is off the top of my head. Chase will probably know. The light blue with the white sash that took us to victory last year. There's a cloud, Bob Baffert shaped cloud, definitely hanging over Churchill Downs this weekend.
It's gonna be weird not seeing that creepy guy there.
I know.
I gotta be honest.
Ryan, I think I even got my Baffert.
Yeah, where are your Baffert glasses in honor of? Please throw those on.
Yeah.
I don't
know how I forgot about these. I bought these last year specifically to try and look like Bob Bamford. I have some of the white hair coming in, but other than that, I can't pull it off. But these
you almost got more of like a Walter Sobchak going with that.
Definitely soap check. Maybe like Fear and Loathing vibes. The Bob Baffert glasses. I spent a lot of time Googling. Very hard to pick up, but these are close.
Someone who's having a good time behind those glasses.
Now, race 11 at the Kentucky is the Kentucky Oaks, sorry, and this is by all accounts a very traditionally chaotic race.
Because bitches be tripping. Right?
Well, you know they're all drama queens. Malcolm, what's your take on the Kentucky Oaks here?
The Kentucky Oaks is a really interesting race. If the Kentucky Derby is a spin of a roulette wheel, the Kentucky Oaks is a hand of blackjack this weekend, because you do feel like you've got a bit of control over this. There's a lot of variables going on in the Derby. The Oaks is okay. There's 4 horses at the top. You could throw a blanket over them, and you feel like you could work this out. I think Chase is nodding his head. I think this is the race you feel like you could work out. There's 4 at the top of the market, then there's a gap, and then there's a load of also rans. And pretty much pay your money and take your choice out of all of those. There's a horse called Echo Zulu, which has won for us before. I think we picked it maybe at the Breeders' Cup meeting last year, won at a short price. That's undefeated, going off at 7-2. The favourite's a horse called Nest, which was great last time out, really improving. But the one I like is a horse called Kathleen O, a horse that's going from strength to strength. And I think she'll really improve for a little step up in trip, a little bit of extra distance here. Should play to Kathleen O's forte. So I fancy her. She's going off at round about 4-1 at the moment.
Nice.
And you should be able to, in America, find places to get future, like non-parimutuel future style bets on this race. So I don't know if you necessarily want to snag a favorite, but the options are out there.
Like it. What about you, Wolf? What do you got here for the Kentucky Oaks?
Yeah, I'm actually looking pretty hard at the horse that Mal just mentioned. I love Kathleen O, and there's going to be a speed duel that develops up front. Pace should just go Chernobyl nuclear and fall apart for a horse like Kathleen O that wants to come from off the pace. Horse has never done anything wrong. This is the time of year I use something called thoroughgraphs, which is it's kind of like the racing form. They have a different way of looking at things. Really good to use when you have horses coming in from all sorts of different places, and that horse just pops on the thoroughgraphs. And then for using in like the Oaks Derby double bet, another horse that I'm considering is the one Secret Oath. It comes from my neck of the woods, from Oaklawn, where it actually tried to make it to the Kentucky Derby gate by running in the Arkansas Derby against the boys. She's back racing against fillies for the coach Dwayne Lucas, and that's another one that's going to try to come from off the pace. Even if it's really speed favoring early, sometimes just good horses overcome bias, and that's kind of what I'm counting on here.
So Secret Oath, Kathleen O, that's what we like in the Kentucky Oaks there. What do we expect Secret Oath to close at?
Secret Oath, I think, will take some money from 6-1. I could see that coming down to maybe even the 7-2, 4-1 range, because Echo Zulu is definitely a monster. So is Nest, and they're going to take the majority of that money.
Those savages have made Kathleen O and Secret Oath a head-to-head matchup, and I'm scrolling around
as a prop bet.
Oh yeah,
all right.
It's one of those weekends, Sean. We got matchups. It feels a little bit like we're gonna. It's draft weekend. There's plenty of inventory of bets for these horse races.
If you're looking at it from a head-to-head standpoint, especially in that sloppy track, sometimes the water can really pool down at the race. If you look at where Secret Oath was drawn in the one hole, that's gonna be trouble, as opposed to maybe where Kathleen O can tip out and get a closing trip like up the middle of the track, not splashing through the puddles.
That explains why -150 right now versus Secret Oath. So
big favorite.
Wow.
All right, Kramer, let's head over to the Derby day itself. Before we get to that, let's talk about trade coffee. Kramer, you came into the office today and you were saying, what was the name of
putting me on the spot?
Yeah,
now.
what was the name of the coffee you're drinking that you were saying you really
Gotham Blend.
Ooh,
Gotham Blend right now. I handcrafted, took it from not bean but ground. I went for the ground option. Packed it in my reusable green. I'm recycling here. Reusable K cup. Sorry, I'm not a fucking I'm not one of these nerds with one of these full blown machines that grind your beans. And
that's me all the way.
I know you're a classy guy. I'm not. Got the reusable K cup. Been smashing the Gotham blend, Sean. Honestly, I feel like I'm turning into a wine drinker with coffee.
Well, again,
and I kind of like it.
Whether you're an amateur coffee drinker or a seasoned pro like Ryan, Real Coffee Kramer over here, Trade Coffee is for you. They've delivered over 5,000 or million bags of fresh coffee, over 750,000 positive reviews. That's right. And why wouldn't you love the experience? You get the whole beans. I love when they arrive just because the smell is intoxicating, super delicious. And right now they're offering Trade subscribers $30 off your first order plus free shipping. All you got to do is go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their coffee quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade find you a coffee you love. Drinktrade.com/SGP for $30 off. And don't forget, Mother's Day is coming up. A Trade subscription is the perfect gift for the coffee lover in your life, or maybe even you think about getting mom a little AG1. You know, maybe you have a mom that's really health centered. Why not get her some of those Athletic Greens? I love Athletic Greens. First thing I wake up in the morning, get my Trade coffee, and then I hammer that AG1. 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Keeps me healthy, keeps me strong, better sleep quality and recovery. I've noticed it all. Over 7,000 5-star reviews from Athletic Greens. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/SGP. That's athleticgreens.com/SGP to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Take it from me, Sean, greening up green. Like how I already used that.
I was really enjoying Malcolm, which I only can assume was laughing hysterically during the read, looking at the close up of you wearing those glasses.
I know I do come off as a nut wearing these.
Someone tuning in for the first time and Sean coming up on the screen looking like that, and them thinking, "Fucking hell,
what have I stumbled into?" And the next thing you know,
strong look. It's a very strong look.
I'm starting to think this
strong look is the nice way of insulting someone. Wow, that is a strong look. And when you have a bad stand-up comedy set, it's the equivalent where someone goes, "Wow, that takes a lot of guts to go up there."
I'm gonna call this character's name is gonna be called Gotham Blend.
Ooh, oh yeah, very Gotham-y.
Oh shit!
All right, let's talk Derby. Starting with the race 10, the Churchill Downs Stakes, 4-year-olds and up. Wolf, what are we getting down on race 10 here?
Listen, we've got probably what is, in my opinion, the most sure winner on the card with the number 3, Jackie's Warrior. I've been known to yell "Corn dogs, Jackie!" after this horse gets home for the win. It's a just top-notch sprinter. It had a bad race in the Breeders' Cup Sprint in November, but it came back in great order in the Count Fleet at Oaklawn. And this horse is also an off-track specialist. Now, is this horse going to be the chalk and absolutely slammed? You bet your sweet ass it is. However, the way to use it is to find value playing it either vertically in like exactas and trifectas, or playing it horizontally, using it as a single in like a daily double or a pick 3 with other long shots. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to key this horse, Jackie's Warrior, who should just get to the front, has an amazing break, and is going to leave all these horses behind. I'm going to key him on over some long shots, which the number 2 Long Range Toddy, a horse that actually ran in the Kentucky Derby a couple of years ago. Since they've cut it back to sprinting, it's not going to win, but it sure gets second a whole lot, kind of like my Zed Run horse. And then also the 7 Mind Control. Another one, you've got Johnny V, who's a Hall of Famer, up for Todd Pletcher. That's another one I think could suck up into second and kind of put Tiger Bomb on these vertical bets.
Now walk us through, because I'm already 100% in on horizontal and vertical bets. I don't really know what they are, but sure. I like it. Can you walk people through horizontal and vertical bets?
A horizontal bet is going to be any bet that spans more than one race. So it's going to be your daily double, your pick 3, pick 4. A vertical bet, that's just a cute way of saying like the exotics or the gimmicks, the single race bets that are like, where you're betting into multiple places. So first, second, third, like a exacta or a trifecta.
So what he's saying, Sean, and I think what I'm hearing, what I think I hear is we should take in a trifecta, We not necessarily boxing it because we think Jackie's Warrior is going to run away with first. So we're going to build a trifecta where we're going to slot in Jackie's Warrior in the one slot, and then we're going to put Long Range Toddy and Mind Control in the second and third spot. So you would say, how would you say that? Like one with 2 and 3 boxed, basically.
I would walk up to the window and say, I want a, trifecta 3 with 2-7 with 2-7, and that would get that. That's you don't dilute profit whenever you actually build them out in this part wheel kind of way, or structuring them where you're keying one horse, as opposed to if I set a 50-cent trifecta for that bet and boxed it using those 3 horses, that's a $3 bet. Well, if I do the same, do it my way, that's $1, and I've already saved myself, quite a bit there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that I was going to say. Explain to Sean that when you box it all the way, you're just making more bets that are probably going to lose. So you don't want those versions where Jackie's Warrior's getting third because it's such a heavy favorite, right? Precisely. All right. So instead, you make 2 bets. Maybe you put a little bit. Maybe you put the same amount in total of what you would have boxed, but instead of making 6 bets, you're making 2 bets. So you're essentially 3xing each bet. Love it. Maximum I'm all EV. On board. And by the way, Chase using buzzwords. It's tickling me both above and below the table. We're learning some English slang and horse racing slang in the same episode. It's always a good time. Race 11, Wolf, Old Forester Bourbon Turf Classic Stakes. What do we got here? Any sort of upsets? So there are 3 Chad Brown horses in this race. If you're not aware, Chad Brown, he's basically North American turf racing god. He takes all of the graded turf stakes normally, and he usually has a bunch of horses entered in each race. And this one, he's got 3. And when you're racing in graded stakes races or stakes races in general, you can't couple entries. So like in a normal claiming race, if I had 2 horses that are owned by the same people, they'd be coupled together as 1 and 1A, and they're a single betting interest. You can't do that here. And so I expect these horses to be working together. He's got Treboven, who's going to be a rabbit for the other Chad Brown horses. And I think it's actually now that means rabbit is he gets out to a fast start so that the horses chase him, and then he kind of gives up or whatever. He's going to hit the wall. Yeah, exactly. He's trying to tire out the other horses to make it easier for the horses that want to close to pass late. And so I think they're going to send this horse as a rabbit. There's a horse that I don't expect to take the candy, and it's the 1 Ivar for Paulo Lobo with Joe Talamo, Smoking Joe Talamo up. And I like that horse to kind of sit a little bit further back and strike late, just kind of run its own race and let, Treboven be a hood ornament out in front, just be purely ornamental, running loose. And, Sean. Now I know what the answer is, but I feel like Ryan may have been confused. He shot me a look. What do you mean by take the candy? That they don't go with the rabbit, that no one tries to actually chase the rabbit. And I've seen it happen where, they just sit back and let that horse tire itself out, and it doesn't even actually factor in the race. It's like it's running its own completely separate race. I kind of like betting on that horse for some reason. Just the idea that it gets off to a really fast start and then just doesn't know that it's supposed to hit the wall and has some crazy energy burst. They get brave sometimes when they're all alone running. Surprisingly, I knew what he was saying. I actually was laughing because in my mind, I thought that this would be a funny premise for a bit. This is like a freestyle rap battle between Malcolm and Chase, and they're spitting all these hot horse racing slang. I don't know, just something to throw out there. That was it. All right. So race 11, it feels like, a lot to unpack in race 11. Maybe a stay away, or do you have? What does Malcolm like? Maybe Malcolm. Do you have any thoughts on race 11?
Do you want the short answer? Because it's no.
That's fine. That's what Sean wanted to know. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Let's get
I'm gonna go with no then. Yeah.
Let's get to what everyone is here to hear about, the Kentucky Derby itself. Before we get to that, I want to shout out IPVanish.com. Look at these shades. They're hiding my eyes. You don't know what I'm looking at. The same thing could be said for IP Vanish. It's hiding your internet traffic. You don't need to let ISPs, hackers, advertisers, getting in your internet traffic. That's between you and the internet. Keep those hackers out. Keep your data safe and secure. IPVanish is our official VPN. We use it all the time. 70% off their yearly plan and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Best part is you can use it on unlimited devices. Won't slow your browsing down. So if you're watching some videos that, let's say you're watching videos where you don't want people knowing your browsing history and you still want to maintain 4K ultra high definition, well, you got to get IPVanish. Just go to IPVanish.com/SGP and claim your 70% off. IPVanish.com/SGP. Now we're talking about the Derby itself. Malcolm, big picture on this Derby. Seems like there's a decent amount of hype. What do you think about the race overall coming in?
The race is absolutely wide open. I mean, it's always very competitive. We talked about this 3 years running now. We've talked about how it's such a big field, and I feel quite comfortable handicapping this because we have fields like this every day of the week. Well, you never see a field this size in the US. It's normally maxed out with 14 or sometimes even 12. So I think the important thing here is to handicap the race how you want to do it. There's no right way or wrong way, and you can't handicap it in 5 or 6 different ways. It would take forever, and you'd end up just as clueless as you were at the start. So if you're a speed figure man, if you're a pace man, use that. Go with that edge. As I mentioned earlier on, there's a lot of horses without much form to their names here. Some of them have raced twice. There's some of them have raced 3, 4, average 5 times. So you haven't got a huge body of work to go on. So do you want to use the breeding? Do you look at trainers who you know can get a horse ready? So you have to take the form on trust because you haven't seen the form. So Todd Pletcher's a great example. As the Wolf pointed out already, he can get one ready that's been off the track for a few months. So there's loads of different ways of handicapping this race. The track, the weather that we've already touched upon, that throws in another variable that we just don't know because they've kept these 2-year-olds. They'll barely have ran a race on the mud, these 2-year-olds, because they're very precious and they'll have been babying them in, be the 2-year-old, just a little nursery year for them. So, yeah, I think the important thing here was just to feel comfortable handicapping it. And then you've given yourself a chance. You give yourself a chance of picking winners. And, yeah, I enjoy handicapping a field this size. And unexposed horses is something that I think we deal with a little bit more in this country. We had our first classic weekend last weekend. We had the 2,000, 1,000 guineas, and there was a lot of unexposed 3-year-olds in that. So you're used to looking for clues, how confident the connections are. Have the connections supplemented the horse for the race financially? We've talked about that in the past. So I've got quite a few angles in. I'm sure the Wolf's exactly the same, but yeah, it's a big fun race to handle.
Stick to your guns. Wolf, do you have, to Malcolm's point, are you a speed graph man? Do you have a specific style of handicapping that you're coming in looking to break this down?
Oh, pace makes the race. That's my mantra is pace makes the race. You have to consider that all of these animals are interacting together, and the way that they interact is going to favor somebody more than it favors anybody else. And so I'm always looking for insane imbalances for, is there way too much early pace? Are they going to go too fast early? Or are they going to go slow early? And it's going to favor one group of runners over the other whenever you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Sean, have you made a single Kentucky Derby?
That hit home.
Bet?
I could tell by the nod.
No. I'm just trying to wrap my head around all these.
Hey, let me pull back the curtain for if you're not watching. What's happening right now is Sean is crafting his bets, and so as he's listening to the experts, I'm
also looking at firing away on some of these horses. Malcolm, we'll kick things off with you. Where are you at with any fun long shots? Do we have a country house or any sort of? You have on your picks article, you have a section called Live Outsiders. Of these live outsiders, with the odds starting at 20-1 for Smile Happy, Cyberknife at 25-1, Crown Pride 25-1, Tawny Port 40-1, Summer is Tomorrow at 67-1. Any of these jump out at you as a live dog?
Well, I know the Wolf likes Crown Pride, the Japanese runner, so I'll leave that one to him. Yeah, Smile Happy. If you go through form lines, again, that's another way of handicapping the race. If you want to go on strict form lines, the form lines don't put him too far behind Zandon. And Zandon's going to go off the possibly the favourite, certainly the second favourite. Zandon is round about 4.5 to 1. So the form line, Smile Happy's finished in front of that horse, and he's 4 times the price. I think it'll be nearer the front than the back, which is the place to be. And if that proves to be correct, then he's going to be there at the end. There's no reason why he shouldn't be there at the end. So yeah, 2 things: he's got a good form line through the favourite, and also I think he's going to be in the right place. He's going to be. I don't want to be right at the front. I don't want to be too far out the back. I want to kind of be the second percentile. There's a long word. The second percentile of the field, somewhere from just sitting in behind with a stalking run. And Smile Happy ticks a lot of boxes for me there. So yeah, 20 to 1. I think you'll get a run for your money.
Now, Wolf, you Malcolm was saying you may fancy Crown Pride at 25 to 1, the Japanese horse coming over. Make a case for Crown Pride as a long shot here.
Yeah, for one, if you pay attention to any sort of horse racing news, they've been training this horse like crazy. He just turned in an absolutely smoking 4 furlong workout. Traditionally, a good workout time, 12 seconds per furlong. He comes in at 46 seconds coming in off that blowout workout. Watching the replays of how he did in Dubai for the UAE Derby, this horse actually, I'm not concerned that it can handle the distance because it raced very wide. It didn't save any ground, so taking on the extra distance of the Kentucky Derby shouldn't be an issue. It also came from a little bit off the pace where they weren't really going fast on the front end. So he didn't really have the setup, but he still had the ability to close and really power through the stretch. So I really want to hold the ticket the first time a Japanese horse wins the
yeah, that
Derby.
would be so.
It.
That would be historic, right? A Japanese horse has never won.
No, but if you look at how Japanese horses have been performing internationally, like especially over in Saudi, in Dubai, they're starting to dominate. It's only a matter of time until it happens, and this just might be the one.
Crown Pride to finish in the top 3 is 6 to 1 as a future.
I think it's Sean mentioned earlier on about taking these anti-post prices today, taking these futures prices. I think if you want Crown Pride, that's one I would lock in today. I think the race horses in this company, the Japanese, if they think their horse is going to win, they'll get behind it and they'll just empty their pockets. They'll just go and throw their yen at the counter. The Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe in Paris is a race that the Japanese often target. And they're just going to throw the money blindly at it because why wouldn't you? So that 25 to 1, if they think it's got a chance, that price won't last. That could go off at 16s, maybe 14 to 1, I think, on Saturday.
Now, Malcolm, you had mentioned a couple of Bob Baffert's exes, aka horses he used to have that are getting run here, not by Baffert. Number 6 Messier and number 12 Taiba. What do you think of those horses, and do you like either of them?
Yeah, I really like Taiba. I'll deal with Messier first. In fact, these two are pretty much intrinsically linked because they finished quite close together last time out. Taiba beat Messier. There's a possibility that Messier wasn't fully tuned up for that run and could take a big step forward. Taiba is the talking horse in this race. Taiba's the one that's only had 2 starts and really could be anything. Now, I've heard people saying that he shouldn't have ran in the Florida Derby because it was Florida, not Santa Anita. The horse wasn't experienced enough to tackle that field, and also shouldn't be running in the Kentucky Derby. It's a rough race. There's a lot going on. You've got to be around horses. I disagree with that completely. It's a race horse, and I think this thing could be absolutely anything. I very, very nearly made it my pick, Taiba. There was one that just touched it off when I came to making my selections. But yeah, Taiba could go and win this by 5 lengths. This could be another one where after it's won, it looks obvious. We said that last year with Medina Spirit. After the race, you thought, "Oh shit, why didn't we back that?" Yes. This could be the story with Taiba, I think.
No. So Taiba, you really like, but you said there's a horse you like slightly better. What is that horse, and why do you think it can beat out Taiba?
So the horse I'm going to put on top my winner is a horse called White Barrio. Good-looking grey, trained by Safi Joseph, who's not a household name in the States yet, but he was the leading trainer at Gulfstream Park, their race meet this season. And yeah, White Barrio has been working really well. The trackmen have been talking about it. He seems to have been laid out for this race as well. And he won what I think is the key piece of form here. We talked about going through form lines. The Holy Bull Stakes looks like it's some of the best form on offer. He's got a bit of a sprinting pedigree, so there's a little question mark there. But if you can trust that he's going to get up, and he wasn't stopping in that Holy Bull Stakes, he ran through the line. I think he'd easily get another couple of furlongs. He's a big price. What price we got at the minute? Round about 12 to 1, maybe.
Yeah.
I've got 12 to 1. I think that's a smashing price. Like, and who doesn't like a good looking grey? Everyone likes a grey horse.
I like that horse quite a bit. Also, there are probably 4 different horses in this that if I could get certain odds that I'll probably end up putting a win bet on because it feels like that wide open of a Derby. Also, with White Barrio, I love the trainer, Safi Joseph Jr. He's from the islands. He's got like the college freshman who got really into Bob Marley accent. Like he kind of has this like cruise excursion guy who, takes you on your snorkeling trip and then not so subtly suggests he knows where he can get Molly for you kind of vibe to him. Like, if his game travels from Florida to Kentucky, which sometimes is a little bit dicey, that could be a very live horse.
So just to throw out, so if you were looking to bet futures, Crown Pride, you can get it 33 to 1 right now. Smile Happy, 16 to 1. White Barrio, 10 to 1. Messier, 8 to 1. And what was the last one? The Bafford X. Taiba is 7 to 1. So clearly some of them they're projecting for the active price to come down a little bit. But Crown Pride, again, based on what Chase said, based on Malcolm's logic with the Japanese money, it seems like we should, as a show, invest a little bit. It would be
fiscally irresponsible not to
buy a little 33 to 1.
Now, Wolf, talk me out of betting a horse called Cyberknife, because I read Cyberknife and I'm like, God, this is the most badass thing I've ever heard. This is just Cyberknife. I never thought those two words would sound so awesome together, but. I mean, it won the
You're
Arkansas.
Really leaning into the lifestyle that comes along with those sunglasses, by the way, with your Cyberknife. I mean, the horse isn't altogether without a chance. I mentioned those thoroughgraphs. Based on the thoroughgraphs, the horse is competitive. If I look at just kind of average speed figures of what the horse has produced on its road to the Kentucky Derby, it's a little bit lower. So seeing that variance is pretty interesting. I'm an Oaklawn guy. I live close to Oaklawn, but I wasn't altogether too impressed with how the Oaklawn preps finished out. I mean, it is a gun runner horse, was sired by gun runner, and those horses have been absolutely just taking the racing, by storm with those foals. So I listen at 20 to 1 morning line. Would I only expect to go up based on the heat that other horses are getting? I'm not going to talk you off a Cyberknife.
All right.
I'll talk you out of using a Cyberknife to end an argument, but yeah, go for it.
A Cyberknife it is. All right, Ryan. I think
that's what we use lockers, no knives, just lockers.
I think it's time to lock things up.
Okay.
I'm going.
Oh, Jesus, I have so much.
I'm not going to go. All right. Hold on. Okay. So
you have to think about the past too. Like think about to me, when Malcolm says what he said about both Taiba, is it Taiba?
Yeah.
And then White Barrio. I feel like those are in my situation. I also really like what Chase said about the Japanese horse.
Yeah. So I think for me, give me I'm just gonna ride with their stuff. Crown Pride, White Barrio, and Cyberknife all to win.
Okay.
And then
Cyberknife was yours.
Yeah, that one was mine.
Don't crowbar that in as theirs.
No, sorry. To be clear,
believe in yourself. Use it.
I am the guy on Cyberknife. There's going to be like tons of Cyberknife clips going viral once Cyberknife slices through the competition.
Oh wow, look at that.
And then got to do a try box at Crown Pride, Taiba, and White Barrio. That feels really fun. And then so those 3 horses to win, and them in a try box, and then a small sprinkle on Cyberknife. That's my official card. Kramer, what are you doing?
I like everything you said. I'd also sprinkle a little bit. What do we think the Smile Happy price is going to do? The future is 16 to 1. Do we play it parimutuel or do we buy it early, Malcolm?
I can find 20 to 1. So I think if you shop around, you should be able to find a bit of 20s maybe.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that'll hold. Yeah, I don't think there'll be too much money for it because there's a few other token horses that will attract the attention. So I think that price will hold. But if you can find some 20s, I wouldn't put you off that, Ryan.
Talking horses, love that. And then I don't know. I guess like just stay tuned because I'm sure I'll put in some superfectas. I don't know. Ever since I discovered the 10-cent option for the superfecta boxing, things are getting out of control.
It is a $1 minimum for a Kentucky Derby race for the superfecta. That is a massive pool that pays that can be like a life-changing score if you hit the superfecta on Derby Day.
All right. Note to self: fire lots of bullets at superfecta.
Yeah, and also put me down for 20 different superfectas. That'll be hammered away. So Malcolm, what are you?
Honey, I gotta go to work.
What's your final card people are looking at for the Derby?
Okay, well, I'm going to bet a couple the very English way. I'd be taking each way. So win place show on White Arborio at 12s and the same on Taiba. At what price have we got Taiba? Round about 7 to 1. So yeah, not fancy prices. White Arborio is a nice double figure price. I'll be putting then my trifectas and superfecta for my exotics. I'll be putting Smile Happy in there third, and the favourite, we haven't even touched on. That's how much we don't care about convention. The favourite Epicenter, the plus 450. I'll put that in as a 4-horse. So White Arborio, Taiba, Smile Happy, and Epicenter. Any combination of those is good. But yeah, White Arborio for the headlines.
Like it. All right, and then Wolf, what do you got for your final card here?
Yeah, I'm going to go with just a straight up win bet on Crown Pride. And then instead of kind of reading you how I've got these exactas and trifecta structured because it sounds like a credit card number, there are so many, I'm just going to give you a 3-horse box for the exacta, which is going to be the 1 Mo Donegal, the 7 Crown Pride, and the 15 White Arborio. And then I'm going to do a 4-horse trifecta box. I'm going to use those, and then I'm going to include the 3 Epicenter.
Love it. Oh, man.
Hold on. It's
so much action.
Okay. Wow. So wait, hold on. We just, let's repeat. Cause I got Malcolm's what's that trifecta again? We have Epicenter,
Epicenter with the 1 Mo Donegal, the 7 Crown Pride, and the 15 White Arborio. Those 4 horses in a trifecta box.
Yes.
Man, I love it. We gave out so many bets, much action.
Let me see how much money I'm spending. Oh my God. All right.
And awesome now we have 2 horse racing guys, Ryan. I love it.
I am putting more money on the Derby than I did for my future on the New Jersey Generals. So we're having a weekend. We're having a weekend.
Now, obviously, make sure you follow Malcolm on Twitter at Mal_B_sport. Check him out on the Zed Run Gambling Podcast, the MLB Gambling Podcast as well. He's got some picks up over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. And make sure you follow the Wolf at of Oaklawn on Twitter. Check out his new horse racing pod, the Notorious OTB. Check him out also on the Zed Run Gambling Podcast.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
There's literally an episode diving into the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oak. I mean, it's almost like we have a network of podcasts here to service you.
Hell yeah. Download the app. Can't miss all this awesome content. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, greening up green, and he is Ryan.
Happy Derby Day, Sean.
Kramer. Let it ride.